We are now in the largest and certainly the most important room of this exhibition. It features numerous photographs taken by Moshe Vorobeichic in Poland that are, however, completely unknown. While photos from Paris, the Cinquante project, or the Vilnius photographs are known thanks to books that were printed throughout Vorobeicic's life and after his death, the photographs that we can see here have never really been published. They were supposed to be put in a book, but it never happened. Why this room is so important, at least to me? Because it displays photos that largely constitute a very beautiful photographic documentation of the everyday life of the Jewish community in Poland. But we also have here photos of Polish peasants, observed by Vorobeicic's lens equally tenderly, and documentation like that is very rare. Few photographers similarly documented both communities. What is more, there are not many Jewish archives that survived. We know photos by Roman Wiśniak, we know photos by Alter Kacyzny and Menachem Kipnis, but when it comes to the collections of interesting documentary photography of the Jewish community living in Poland before the war, that is all that we have. This is precisely why what we are showing here is so important. The room is divided into several sections. First, we can see everyday life in Jewish districts. On the first wall, next to the introduction to the exhibition, we have photos of Kraków. Please note that they are slightly yellow and give an impression of being lit up from the inside. This effect is achieved in the process of developing and fixing the print. Vorobeichic had to put them into an additional special bath, which gave them this strong yellowish hue. Moreover, he had to wave a piece of paper in the middle of the photo or use some kind of cover on a wire to achieve the dodge effect in the middle of the photo, which creates the impression that the photo is glowing from within. This is a procedure he would sometimes use on other photographs as well. We also have very beautiful photos from the streets of Warsaw. Vorobeichic did not take a lot of photos in Warsaw. He did not make a photo project about the northern Jewish district comparable to the one from Vilnius. Nevertheless, there are several photos from Warsaw and you can see 3 of my favorites framed together. These are dynamic shots taken at an angle featuring women walking quickly and purposefully on one of the streets of the northern district. They are very beautiful and typical for modern photography of that time. When photographing either the Polish or Jewish community, Vorobeichic paid attention to their difficult living conditions, and if he took a photo, for example, of a person in tattered clothes, he would often write on the back, "Note the torn sleeve" or worn-down shoes. This is the case with the photo we can see next to the street shots I have just discussed. In this room, we also have a section with only portraits. In the middle part of the longest wall, there is a group of extraordinary street portraits. Let me point out that these are not posed photos. They are far from what was done in photography ateliers at the time. These are people whom Vorobeichic met on the street and asked, or not, if he could take their photo. He had to approach very close if the face was to fill the entire frame, so he did, because we also know that these photos were not trimmed. There is not much more on the negatives. This is not why the print is so full. This is what the negatives were like. Among the portraits he did, there was a very large group of bearded Jewish men. Vorobeichic called this series Beards. Of course, we can see here only a small selection, but if anyone is interested, I recommend looking into the cabinets with contact sheets displayed to see how many there really were. Besides, it allows you to learn that most of these portraits were taken in Warsaw. The third group of photos in this room are photos taken at markets. That was one of the favorite places for Vorobeichic to photograph, as he could observe various situations and interactions between people. But he would also watch interactions between the Poles and the Jews. Moreover, he encountered lots of interesting types who inspired him to take photos. So in this section, we can see those situations, haggling and counting money, all in exquisite prints. Here, let me draw your attention to the wall with 5 photos displayed in a neat row. These are pre-war photo prints that we know he exhibited, and these are particularly beautiful. They also offer an interesting look at Poland. Almost every one of them was taken in a different place. We have here photos from Kraków, Częstochowa, and Lviv, and each is a wonderful image. If you're not yet satisfied, you can sit and watch the slideshow once again presenting negatives. The archive is enormous. There are over 1,500 photographs that Vorobeichic took in Poland alone, so what you can see here is just a small selection. We cannot leave this room without stopping by the great object displayed on shelves you can see by the door. This is a mock-up I have only recently discovered. The mock-up titled Polin, which means Poland, that Vorobeichic made probably in the late 70s, perhaps with a German publisher in mind. He made prints of his pre-war photos and decided to use the photos, edited to form these dynamic collage-like compositions, to tell the brief history of the Polish Jewish diaspora. In the beginning, we can see holy scriptures, we can see the mythical land of Polin, and the everyday life of the Jewish community in towns and villages. Suddenly, Jewish youth appear and learn farming, and then we see that they become the foundation of the new state of Israel. And this is where the mock-up ends, so this is truly a very brief summary. This mock-up, of course, has never been published. Perhaps we will make a reprint, but it is a very interesting object regardless, reinterpreting photographs that we can see on other walls of this room.